drinking from the devil's cup. Take that pill, drink it down. Flashing lights all around. High as hell, drunk like I finally don't give a fuck. 'Cause I'm breaking all the rules tonight. Not going down without a fight. As long as I'm
Hey, this is Overpass Live. My name is Eric and I make apps. It is so good to see you guys. Doing this twice a week format on the videos sucks, man. I feel like I haven't been on YouTube hardly at all lately, right? And we didn't do a live stream last week. We missed last Friday because it was Good Friday. And although I'm not a religious person and I did work a little bit on the Friday, not the whole day, but I did work a little bit. I still found a reason to take the day off. I didn't want anybody on my team to be in there. So thanks everyone for showing up again today. Billy, thanks very much for being the first one. Mega Man second. C89 HD, how's it going? Parash, how are you? Rohit, hey, how's it going? Josh, hi. Making English Fun. Vikas, Making English Fun. Nice to be back. Yeah, it is nice to be back, right? So I recorded a video for tomorrow, right? But it's been doing, you know what? Doing videos 2 days a week is actually harder than doing it every week. I don't know why that is. It's almost like you lose your momentum. You get out of rhythm. You start overthinking it. You start thinking, is this topic going to be good enough to talk about today? And then it's just, in the end, just overthinking it. And the one video I did put out this week, which was about dialogue flow, it took me like ages to do it. It was almost like, I know some people said they really enjoyed it, but it was kind of like, I might go, like to the one tomorrow, I'm just going to give my opinion on something because it's more fun to do that. More fun for me anyway. Hey, Vikas, how's it going? Hussein Gokas, how's it going? Jay Matthew, hey. Josh, we did miss your daily videos, man. Thanks very much, Josh. Yeah, man, I miss them too. I'm thinking about going back. You know what? I thought about doing the daily video again this week. I just thought about just deleting the one where I said no more daily video, but there's also a lot to be said for not doing it every day. So I'm gonna keep the current name, Overpass Insights. But you know what? Screw this. 2 times a week. I kind of hate the fact that there's this formatting going on it. Like there's a procedure. Like I have to stick within certain lines all of a sudden. The ones I put there, right? And we've been having a bit of chat within our teams. Like maybe we should do once a week, do app review an app. Once a week, do this. Once a week, do that. And I thought, it's part of it. It's kind of if I put too many rules in place, it stops being fun. So thanks very much, everybody. So it was a short week, and this is the last day I'm going to be in this office. So last time we did a live stream, I set up my new format where I'm sitting at the table. But today, because it's my last day in the office, I thought I'd go back to the one. What should I do? And I'm moving, so you guys can see the overpass in the background. And I am moving to a smaller office on the other side of the building. In fact, this time I said, don't even bother painting the stripe blue on the wall. It's orange. So there's an orange stripe in the wall, which is going to be fine. But, so this weekend I'm going to be moving my stuff from this big 3-person office to the other side of the building for it's a 2-person office, but it's just going to be me in there. And I'm kind of looking forward to that. There's a lot, I've alluded to it a little bit on the daily videos before, but a lot of the business has been slowing down a little bit. And a lot of it is just so much, keeping up with so much, where we still have a lot of work coming in, but it's just trying to keep up with it was getting a bit difficult. So we've been turning some of it down. And because of that, the revenue slows down a little bit. And I thought, you know what, let's just go small for a little bit. So over the next few months, we still have the team overseas. We still have that, but just moving into a smaller office. I nearly moved into the shared office. I think I told you guys about this a few weeks ago. A shared office where I would share it with 5 other people. But in the end, I changed my mind. I thought I'll just pay more for my own office, because doing the videos and it just being software development in general, a lot of times you have those long periods of just yourself, and you need that quiet time. So let's see. Parash says, how many takes did it take you to do the dialogue flow video take? Actually, Parash, more what it was I did like a few diagrams, and then I kept setting up the camera, and then the phone kept ringing, and then and I did probably more than I would like. And the thing about doing demos or tutorials is like you get everything set up so you can walk through the steps, and then if you mess up at some step, then you have to go back and reset everything again, right? So like, oh man, I don't want to do that, right? So I mean, that's what. So in the end, so I kept going through. I took quite a few of those. I spent way too long on the dialogue flow one, Parash. And what happened was I got to the point where I just thought, I'm just gonna screw it. I'm just gonna show you guys what I've done. Like I didn't say, then we're gonna type this. Now we're gonna type this. Now we open up this window and do this. In the end, I just said, okay, see, here's my Node.js stuff over here. Here's the dialogue flow, and it really is like a very cool tool. Like at the end of last year, I got really like reading everything I could on it, but there's not that much to read on it. Of course, if you do all the once you go to the Node.js side of it and you have all the libraries, you have a lot more to play with there. And there was something that I was going to talk about in the video which I didn't, which was SSML. Yeah, the speech synthesis markup language, where you could put like pauses and angry voice. There's all this kind of stuff you could put in there, which is what I did with the MP3. And that was something that once I got through the end of the video, I thought, oh, I forgot to talk about that, and then I didn't. So I'm not very good at doing tutorials. I have nothing but respect for people who could do, like, you could just sit down and say, here's my 45-minute tutorial on how to code this, and but no, not so much. So Rodrigo's here. Hey, everybody, it's a party. Rodrigo's here. I forgot it was Friday. Josh says, I was wondering, Eric, have you ever heard of Polefish? No. What is Polefish? Let's have a quick look. It's not like, okay, I'm going to have a look here, but if it's a porn site, I'm going to be very cross. Let's see. Let's have a look at this, Josh. Polefish. Real consumer insights. Is this something that's app related? Simple surveys, powerful insights. Oh, so it's like, is it like SurveyMonkey? No. So to answer your question, Josh, no, I haven't. Why do you ask? Is there something are you working on an app for that? Are you using like an API or something? El Cyro 187, hey, how's it going? Josh says you could maybe consider using that in one of your apps. Oh, I see. So you could say like give some feedback on your applications, or is it? Hang on a second. Is it something that they pay you for? Is it like an ad network? Sorry, let me go back to screen share again here. Is it something? Because I know you could put like polls in AdMob and stuff, or surveys and interactive stuff, but. Is it something when you say put it in your apps? Is it something like I say, hey, how did you like our app? Or is it something like third parties go in there and say, how do you like shopping at Walmart or whatever? I was going to say Tesco, but then I thought, kind of, go for that global audience, Walmart. Let's see. Summer Vibes. Summer Vibes, have you been here before? What do you think about Flutter? I'm glad you asked that. Let's see. Vikas Rai says, can you tell me what is the business logic in the app? I'm struggling to understand what it is. Which app are we talking about, Vikas? Did I miss something previous? Bart Raka retracted. Tech Earn Nepal, hey, how's it going? Love from Nepal, thanks. Emrican, hey, how's it going? So I know we say a lot of hellos, but that's like the first 5 minutes. We should just reserve the first 5 minutes for hellos. Thanks everybody for showing up. Tech Nepal says, how many times did it take you to learn full coding for student from home to make apps? Now it's difficult to say Tech Nepal how long it takes to learn coding, because you got various, it's like a spectrum. Like there's various levels of learning it. Like if your goal is just to do an application, you're going to learn what you need to do just to do those. So like if you're a game developer, you might learn how to do sprites and use the game loop and play audio, but you're not going to be worried about connecting to an API necessarily, maybe leaderboard, but having a database you might not be interested in, rendering buttons, doing like a list view, that kind of stuff might not really appeal to you. And there's different types of stuff to do it. I mean, I think I considered myself a newbie for a long time, and it wasn't until I started working with other people who were newbies. Like, it was like, it's almost like when you see somebody else who knows less than you, then all of a sudden you realize how much you've learned. So it always felt like I was struggling for like first year or so, and mainly because I was working with developers who were much better than me, and which is a good thing, because then I was really trying to impress them. I was trying to make, trying to be the alpha for those guys. Wait, before I forget, I have to. So today's live stream, I can't do longer than an hour, so I'm going to have to cut it off at like 5:45. So I have this thing where I have to decide whether or not I want to ask the Alexa or Google to do this. So Alexa, remind me when it's 5:45. So we'll do that. What's
the reminder for?
Go home.
Okay,
See.
I'll remind you at 5:45.
So okay, so that's I've got the both devices in here, which is overkill. I have them for testing, but like whenever I listen to music, I think, do I go to Google or do I ask the Echo? And the nice thing about Google is it uses Google Play Music, and it will just play a playlist. Like if you ask for one song, it will guess what the next song is you want, and the Echo will just play that song. That's in a nutshell. That's what I think is the difference between the two of these. Making English fun. So let's see. We got over here. We got anything from Neil? No, nothing. Making English Fun says, I have built my first app. I have my first app built by remote developers being finished up soon. First time I hired people to make it from scratch, both nervous and excited. Yeah, it's a bit of a scary thing. It is scary when you have remote developers working on it, and hopefully they'll do a good job. Or at least when they hand it over to you, I would look through the code. I would look through the code and just make sure. And if there's anything wrong, make sure you send it back, right? Don't sign off on it until it's done. I made that mistake in the past where I thought, fine, I'll fix it myself. And it's something that I always do. I always take on that extra burden, and then I have to go through and change everything. In fact, there's still a few applications of mine that when I look at them, I just get all mad. I get mad because they're like, I didn't do the initial coding, and I've just been coding around them. I've been I'm just patching them up, and then when I look at them, I just get angry. Oh, who names a variable that? And every so often I'll go through and use refactoring and just start like renaming a bunch of variables and stuff. And which it's like, it depends on how much time I have. Like if I have like a good 4 or 5 hours, I can sit there and I'll just like restructure the code, make it work perfectly. But more often than not, I'll just have an hour or so, and I'll start doing it, and then I'll get distracted by something else and move on. So let's see. Parash says, so true. Tutorial videos are harder to make than they seem. Really appreciate the work you put in. It was a very interesting video. I think from my point of that dialogue flow video, I think in the end, what I decided was, rather than say, I'm going to teach you how to do this, I just decided I was just going to show you how cool it was, right? Because that's, like, you could find another tutorial on how to do it, but like if you haven't seen it before, you don't know how cool it is, and that's kind of, it's more fun to say that, hey, have you seen Fastlane? You should try out Fastlane. You can do all this stuff automated. Like, that's more fun to me than just saying, here's how you do it. Step 1, this. Step 2, that. Because other people are doing it much better than I can. At least, in my opinion. Let's see. Oh, I'm way behind on the comments here. Sorry about that. Be Smart. Hey, how's it going? Say, hi, Eric. Important question. The game Free Fire, I think, is a first with numbers of downloads in Play Store. They make interstitials ads in button. And they address it for, if you watch the ads, you get a bonus in the game. Is that legal? Yeah, if it's a rewarded ad, yes, it is. So that's what we talk about, the different types. Interstitials are interstitials, but if it's a rewarded ad, you can have that. So they do have that. In AdMob has it now, but for the longest time they didn't. So you could say, if you watch this ad, I'll unlock a feature or do whatever, and you'll get that view. Now, what you can't do is say, if you click on the ad, then I'll reward you. Or if you, so, but showing the ad, that is legal if it's a rewarded ad. So, Bart Raka says, hey, Eric, do you miss making the daily videos? I really do. I mean, I part of it was like just the sense of identity is gone. And I'm thinking I might just start doing it more. I think because I kind of been... So people have been saying that, the videos should be better. Sorry. They should be better. Anyway, yeah, anybody could tell me that. They should be like more involved, take more time doing them, don't do them so often, right? And part of it was like, I just like to share opinions, right? I don't want to have to sit there and think, all right, I'm going to make the 5 reasons this or whatever. So I think that the second one I did for this week, which is on tomorrow, I did that. I said, we're just going to answer a question. We're just going to give my opinion on it. And I think it's, but a lot of people will find the video, like, because that's it. I'll just say, this is my opinion on this. And then some people they'll find it through search, and then they'll watch it and they'll think, this doesn't teach me how to do this at all, which is not the purpose of it. So just different things. But I think there's a lot more. I think one of the goals of the channel, I think, was just to talk about technology, not so much teach how to use it, because a lot of people out there teaching you how to use stuff. And there's been a lot of times in my career where I've been taught how to use a technology and nobody would say whether it was good or not. I mean, if you're teaching it and you're invested in it, of course you're going to say it's good. You should say, you should code an Xcode because it's the best thing ever. Here's how to do it. Buy my course, whatever, right? But nobody's saying, what sucks about Xcode, or how would you compare Xcode with, or how would you compare Objective C with Swift or whatever. And when I was working in contracts with, and depends on the contract. Sometimes I work in contracts where people were like, they were software developers, but they were just doing their job. They were just doing what they had to do. And there were contracts where I was working where they were like really into it. Like we would talk about technology, and it would be kind of fun because we would talk about like, I'm going to do this thing in PhoneGap. PhoneGap, like we call each other names. We talk about the different stuff. We talk about how, the funny thing about code, when you get around people who are really into it and you can make jokes about it, it's just different, right? It's like, it's so inside. It's such an inside joke that is funny. Like the fact that, like, as software developers, we could go home and, when our kids say, what did you do today? And it's, I spent half the day looking for a stray semicolon, right? What other professions do you have that for? So, but so that's more what I like, the conversational. Like, I like to talk to people who talk about code, and we talk about the job, talk about clients, talk about issues, bugs, whatever. And that was one of the things when you're really struggling with a bug and you talk to another developer and they go, sometimes they know what it is because they found it before, and sometimes they just sympathize with you, and it's like, it helps, right? Because other people who don't know it are like, oh, maybe you should Google it, maybe you should do this. You don't think if you've ever been like looking for a bug for like the whole day, and then you say, I've just been looking for this bug, whatever, I got this error I'm trying to figure out, and then somebody says, have you tried Googling it? And you're like, of course I've tried Googling it. I've tried doing everything. So, and just go off on them. Let's see. Tech Guy says, hi, Eric. Have you ever thought about moving to a poor country where you could live like a king with your app income? I think about that all the time. I talked to a young lady, I think a couple months ago, and she moved from Texas to Brazil so she could live off her app income. And there was another developer I talked to a few years ago who he moved to Mexico so that he could just live off his app income. And I thought, and for me, because kids in school and everything, it's not really an option, but I would love to do that. The alternative is to start making more income from the apps, which is, that's what I'm trying to do. So, but yeah, that would be awesome. Just not work. I mean, I would do something. I mean, I would, I wouldn't just not work. I mean, I would not work for like 2 weeks, right? Or maybe I'll do something, have enough time to work on like another project. That would be great. And part of me thinks, even now, like even just living here, I think if I just cut like all my expenses, then maybe I'd be able to do that. But but yes, I think about it all the time, Tech Guy. I really do. Making English Fun says, and just updated. I just finished my updated website, but it's not yet good, but it's a start. Making English Fun. Do you want us to have a look at it? Polefish delivers ads instead of ads, basically surveys. Okay, cool. So that makes sense. I've never tried it. How does it pay? I guess that was the question. Sorry, I know, guys, when I get to these questions, a lot of times you guys ask them like 10 minutes ago, so sorry about that. Robert Cosia. Hi, Eric. I studied Java's master's in software engineering, and I would like to gain knowledge in Android. Is there any placement opportunities in your startup? Thanks. Roberto, your question is the one I answered in tomorrow's video, the one you sent in on Easter about what advice I would give my kids if they went into Android development. I've been pronouncing your name all day, Roberto. Every time I did a take, I did like 3 or 4 takes, so I kept calling you Robert instead of Roberto. So just look out for that tomorrow. In terms of placements in the company, I don't know if we have. If you're in the UK, at least something might be considered. But I don't know if we have any placements. But you could always send you through your CV. Like we do have we're building a list of developers. So when something comes in, we can go to them because we have companies that we work with, but sometimes, sometimes they're either busy or I'm upset with them about something. So that's always something to do. Tobias Sheik, hello, hey from Germany, hey, how's it going? Rodrigo says, I got a question. Just leave me in suspense. Honest Tomato says, do you teach for iOS? Not so much. I don't really teach. I'm a software developer, so I'm not really I was a teacher. I'm trained to be a teacher. I was a history teacher, a substitute teacher back in the day, but no, I don't teach coding really. Sorry. Paraj, sorry if I set off your Alexa there. Sorry, said it again. Jesse, how was your Easter? It was good. It was a nice Easter. It was a great break actually. Unlike other weekends, I didn't come into the office every day. For the last few weekends, I haven't been coming in like I used to. I'm gonna come in this weekend and move furniture or move all my stuff to the other office. But it was good. How was yours? Let's see. Oh, sorry. And then Jesse says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm way behind on this. I know. You know what? I ramble. You guys know that already, though, don't you? Is there a cross-platform voice bot services? I think Dialogflow is probably Dialogflow is the back end, but I think that's probably the closest. But it doesn't handle the Amazon Echo, and I think that's one of the things that really bugs me about that. Like, I have a Chromecast at home, and I can't cast Prime movies to it because it doesn't allow it. So I have to have a Fire Stick and a Chromecast just because they're being pissy with each other or whatever. And I think that's probably the same with Alexa. I mean, I haven't really looked into it. I don't know the real reason, but that was like when I saw that you couldn't interface with it and you had to export everything and write the code again, I thought that's probably because they won't allow it. I'm sure Google would allow Amazon stuff in, but probably not vice versa. I think Google would, they're happy just to take over the world and just be the master of all that, and Amazon's running their own thing. But again, that's based on just my opinion. I don't know anything about it. Jesse says, do you think it's worth learning project management to improve the handling of remote developers? I think it is, but when you talk about learning project management, there's so many different ways of doing it. We've done Scrum in the past. We've done just the standard Gantt chart stuff. I've interviewed project managers. So this was a few years ago. I mean, I've had project managers since, but I remember once interviewing project managers, and they were just like, as soon as I interviewed them, I realized how much I don't like project managers, just all the years working with them as a developer, because they were all just telling me why I couldn't do something. They were all just like, oh yeah, but we have to find it was just the way they talked. It was just like, right? And I really just need somebody just to keep things moving. But yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways of doing the project management. I mean, you've got the I can't even Prince 2 PMP methods. You got lots of different ways. So I think just having somebody who what I want is not somebody who comes in and gives me a bunch of charts and stuff like that. I want someone who can see the project and see when things are slowing down and just check on things regularly. And sometimes, and that's really where I am. It's not so much. And also, they have to get the developers' time. So if it's another company working on the development, it's almost like, if they don't answer their Skype or their emails or the Slack or whatever, it's like making sure they do, right? That's one of the things. So let's see. Prosh Jesse WDYM. Sorry, I didn't see that one. Oh. Rodrigo says, my game was removed because of violation of inappropriate ads policy. It's a kids game, but I don't target kids. Will I have to exclude some categories in AdMob or something else? Okay, so let's have a look here. So Rodrigo, what's your app? So I don't know if you'd have to change anything. What would you? This is one of the things I think. I mean, most of the time, if it's targeted at kids, you do like in AdMob, you do have those restrictive ads, or you know the content policy thing or whatever, like the what's it? I'm blanking. I'm sorry, guys. I'm blanking. The like you remove gambling and sex ads and stuff like that, and you could turn those on and you get paid more. But I mean, just make sure those are turned off. But I think it is by default. I'm not quite sure. Have you tried? Like most of the time when I see an inappropriate ads policy, it's having a button that says, you know, download app or whatever. Or, you know, download more apps and stuff like that. And it's actually technically an ad. So Catherine H says, knock, knock. Who's there? Very long pause. Java. Hello, Catherine. What is TTS? Text-to-speech, Jesse. Omega says, hey, Eric, have you ever considered selling or have sold any of your applications? I have seen you can get 20 to 28 times monthly revenue. I thought about doing it. I have people contact me saying they wanted to buy EarSpy, and I was like, okay, sure. You know, they would say like they would pay like $300 or something for it. And it was like, it makes more than that, like a couple days. Like, so I haven't really gone out and tried to find something. And plus, it's my main revenue earner. So yeah, I would sell it if it stopped making revenue, but then nobody would want to buy it. So, and then other ones, yeah, probably. I mean, I've had people contact me, but like if you were gonna buy, if I was gonna buy an app from somebody, I would have to make sure it was a popular app and they did a lot of the marketing and stuff like that. So let's see. Programmer's Cave says Facebook Audience Network or AdMob or mobile ads, which is more better? Please guide. I've used Facebook Audience Network and I've used AdMob. I've never used Amazon mobile ads, and I think the reason I didn't, because when I initially looked into it, they didn't cover all countries. And maybe they do now. But for me, AdMob works best for me. Jay Matthew said, Eric, I thought your daily videos were great. Thanks very much. As long as you like your videos, don't worry about what other people say about your videos. Yeah, I think I'm going to start just doing it. There were certain days where I just couldn't think of anything to talk about, and I felt like I was kind of just not doing a really great job on it. And on those days, I kind of hated the fact that I called it daily. So calling it Overpass Insights gives me a bit more freedom, but me saying I'm only going to do it twice a week, I think I might do it more often than that, just because, you know, changing the name to Overpass Insights is, at least that means I can just do it when I want. Like if I miss a day, I won't feel like, oh man, I missed a day. Like so that would work there too. Let's see, Mariano Argañaras. Sorry. Says, question, hello Eric, what do you think about doing multiple not so interesting apps with your business account in order to have many apps that could give you passive income on a regular basis? Thanks. That is what a lot of people do, and that's what I do too. And I think it works really well on Google Play, but it stops working on Apple. So there's something, so because there's so many apps out there, you've had the 4.3 guideline on Apple. Actually, it's 4.3 guidelines like always been there, but they really started to crack down on it like in the last couple of years. So like for me, releasing a lot of language learning apps, and to be honest, they are using the same code base but different audio and different images, and that kind of, yeah. But then after a while, they started like saying these all have to be one application. You have to have a container app, and I didn't want to do that. And then they started rejecting everything, regardless of whether it was similar to those. And I think, and you talk to a lot of Apple developers, and they have that kind of issue. Now, on the Google Play side, I know there's some people who've been hit with repetitive content, but I do think they're a lot more lenient about that. Like, as long as the apps are different, like you're not releasing the same app again and again and again under different names or different, package names or whatever. Like you're just you're spamming the market. If you're genuinely doing it, I think that works well, right? And I know a lot of developers, especially in the early days, that were doing that. So if you have an app, so my logic is normal logic, and even though Apple makes you feel like you're wrong for thinking it, if you have an app that's making $1 a day, then you're like thinking, then well, I'll just have 100 of these. Why that makes sense. All I have to do is logic. So, but then after you have so many of them, they become difficult to maintain, but that's fine. Like whenever there's a new policy change or whatever, you have to go through and update them all. But you could use automation and stuff for that. But I think Mariano, I think it works on Google Play, but it doesn't work so well on iOS. And I think we might get to the point where it doesn't work on Google Play as well so much either. Let's see. Making English Fun says, okay, Rodrigo. So he says, Rodrigo, I had this message as well. My Games for Kids. I messaged with a screenshot, AdMob exclusions to Apple, showing I have ticked the exclusions, and they say approved it a day later. Oh, cool. Yao Johnny says, hi, Eric. I wrote an email to you regarding my app getting suspended. I get a reply from Roweno, told me I could find you at here. I couldn't figure out how the reason why my app got suspended. So, Johnny, do you have, can you tell us what the app was? So there's lots of reasons it could be suspended, but they should have sent you an email. This is one of the stupid things about, it was Google Play, right? We're talking about Google Play. One of the stupid things about Google Play is that they'll send you an email with the reason in it. It might go to spam, so check your spam folder. In fact, it frequently goes to spam. And you have to check your spam folder, but they won't tell you on the Google Play console. So check your spam folder, and they might have a clue. And it'll be some generic high-level thing, but if you appeal it, then they might come back with something a bit more. Like if you appeal it and they reject it again, then you might get something with a bit more detail in it. That's what happened with me. My big app got suspended, right? Last year, and it was devastating. And I appealed it, and they rejected it and rejected my appeal. And then I just sat around, and then I just moped. I moped around for like a couple weeks, and then people were saying you should just appeal it again. I was like, no, I've already appealed it. Right? And then I went through and read the appeal email back, and they said it pretended to be a medical device, or it pretended to be a hearing aid. And I thought, oh, is that all? So then I appealed it again, saying specifically what they wanted. Say, and emphasize the fact that it was for there's loads of users out there who've downloaded the application, and they're left without the application. You're not hurting me. You're not hurting me as a developer. You're hurting your users, right? That's kind of, I tried to make that point. But just say, there's loads of people who rely on this application, yada yada yada, and then get that put back. But yeah, I mean, try to emphasize the users who are missing out if you can. So Jesse, have you ever tried porting some of your games to WebAssembly? I haven't. I mean, a lot of our games are in Corona, and there is a Corona HTML5 component, or at least there was on their website for ages, but I've never used it. I don't even know if it works. Now, there's some of ours, like when I was first learning game development, and this was like after years of doing form-based web applications and stuff. The first game I ever looked at was using Impact.js, which is a JavaScript framework. And this is back in like 2011 or something. And it was really cool the way that it worked, but it worked really well in a browser. It didn't work well on the phone. And I think we got I think like Phaser works better on both, which is a lot newer. But I haven't, I've thought about it, but I just haven't done it. I mean, I have the image assets. I could do it. It wouldn't be that hard to do, just to rewrite it, but I haven't done. I keep waiting for something to come out that'll be like magically do it. Kind of like the hummingbird thing for Flutter. Let's see. Kamlesh Vora says, hey, Eric. Hey, how you doing, Kamlesh? Mondieu 72. Is that the year you were born? If so, we are the same age. Hey, have you ever tried something like Sojo Appcelerator or something similar? Appcelerator... That's a titanium accelerator, right? And Sojo I've never heard of. Sometimes these Sojo is a what? Let's have a look at the screen here. Oh, it's a cross-platform app development tool. Let's have a quick look. I'm assuming it's Sojo, pronounced Sojo. Rapid application development. What language is it in? So to answer your question, no, I've never used it. And my Dropbox is full. You guys don't need to see that. No, I've never used it. So I mean, sometimes I one of the concerns I have about some of these new frameworks. Sorry, you should have seen my picture in the picture down there. One of the things that concerns me about some of these frameworks is like if the community is too small. Like if I've never heard of it, then it kind of concerns me a bit. But now, you never know with Google these days. Like everything is so tailored towards you specifically that for all I know, there's like loads of Sojo stuff out there, but they're only showing me Cordova and Ionic and stuff that I've searched in the past. But let's see. And they have a pop-up box that says, "How can we help you?" which is annoying. Leandro Damasceno, gnarly. We're bringing it back, man. Thanks. Let's see. Making English Fun says, "I moved to Hong Kong from Hong Kong to Malaysia, and I'm trying to build a passive income. I'm not working, lol." Cool. That's the dream. Glenn Ferris says, "Hi, Eric. I was contacted by Appello soliciting their ASO and app growth services to help with my app listum. Do you recommend using a company to optimize your position in the App Store?" I don't know. It's a good question, Glenn, but I've been contacted by ASO companies too, and it's almost like when an SEO company contacts you, they make a lot of promises and you wonder, can they actually deliver? And the one company that I spoke to, they were talking about like they need to do an audit which would cost £4,000, and then you pay them £1,000 every month, but they'll make sure you're top of the thing. And I'm thinking, but yeah, that's a lot of money, right? They were talking about all this kind of stuff without even knowing anything about my applications, right? They were just, we can make it top, and that kind of bothered me. So I think maybe if you wanted to, just to get the principles in place, but I mean, they shouldn't have anything that you don't already have. This is the thing that gets me. Unless, they might be really good at using tools like Sensor Tower or the Tool or Mobile Action or something like that, and maybe they could do that kind of stuff. But that's something you could learn. It depends on how much it costs, really. If I had somebody contact me and say for like whatever, £30 a month or £100 a month or something like that, they could do all the ASO stuff, then maybe. But I also don't want somebody telling me all these changes I need to make to my apps. And Glenn says, "I wonder if you take a look at my app store in its current state. It is App Listum, name of the game." So let's have a look at this. This is Glenn's. So everybody, we're just having a look at Glenn's, Glenn Ferris's app here. Show my screen. So here, the app is called Listum, and here we go. Cool, and now I'm in the corner again. Okay, so this is called Listum. Glenn Ferris, cool. Guessing with trivia quiz. United States, vegetables that are not green. Listum. So I mean, Glenn, have you thought about? So there's a few things here. I mean, have you thought about putting like a subtitle on here? Because I'm thinking if you're searching, one of the key things to change on when you're looking for search optimization or App Store optimization is people are going to be searching on something, and how are they going to find what you have? Listum might not. If I was searching for list, I might be thinking shopping list or something like that. But you're really talking about trivia, the group guessing and trivia quiz game, which I guess you do have it there. You do have it in the subtitle. But Listum trivia, could you do that? Or try it. The thing about iOS is you have to like release a new build, but you'll get used to that. You could try it. They might reject it. I've had them do that too. If I had a title that wasn't underneath the icon, but it's something to give a try. And then also you might want to play around with some different icons and stuff. So let's have a quick look over here at Listum on App Annie. and I'm gonna need to get through these questions here soon. So because I need to get going in a very soon. So I'm sorry to have to cut it short today. Let's see, list them. There's one. Oh, there's another one with that name. Let's go to ASO. Okay, so one of the things I do is when I look at the ASO section here, and this is just the app adding the free version, right? I'm not using the paid version, but then here I can see what you're ranking for already, and what we could do is look to see where you're ranking for other things that might be too crowded, and how you can move up in those ranks. So you're ranking number 3 for Ferris. What does that mean? Let's look at the United States, because that, for me, the United States is always the biggest market. So we got select category, word select game, guessing word quiz. Is this the right one? Word guessing quiz, Ferris wheel. That's your name. Let's see. So you're ranking for some of these here, but we have to think about what do we want people to find on it. So if we did trivia game, trivia list game, just think about that. And then also, so once you get that, and so looking at those reports on the statistics on iOS to see how often is it listed in search results, and then how often is it click through, and then if it gets clicked through, so if it's listed, that means your title's good. They're searching for it, they're finding it, or at least it's showing up in search. If they're clicking through on it, that means your icon is good. It looks good. It's near the top. Everything. If they're downloading it, it means your screenshots look good. Your copy looks good. So does anybody have anything they want to say here about Glenn's application? Just go ahead and let them know. Let's see. Kamiri says, what type of apps convert well? It's difficult to say. And did you try games? We do. I tried games, but I don't have any my kids say I don't have any fun games. I have language learning games. So I always preface it with that. If somebody's like a real hardcore gamer, they're not going to be interested in the games that I have. But so it really depends. I mean, I think you'd have to go to something that's not very crowded. It has to look really good, and you have to play around with that. When we talk about convert, you talk about downloads, I assume. And so yeah, it's difficult to say. I'm not sure I have a good answer for that one. Let's see. Emercon Urkul says, links and experiences are valuable more than pure data. Thank you for the shared experiences. No problem. Riffat's here. He says, we love Eric. Thanks, Riffat. Appreciate it. Alex Davies. Hey, how's it going, Alex? Hi. Hey, Eric. Any advice on porting my Android app to iOS? Now, Alex, that should be fairly... If it's done in Android... I don't think there's a way to port it directly. There's not, is there? I mean, you can't, there never was before. So I would think you would be able to give this to an Android developer and have them do it. But if you do Swift, it's close enough to it. Now I have hired iOS developers to convert apps from Android to iOS in the past, and the developers I have, they didn't take the code. You need somebody who knows both, right? Because what they did was they black boxed it. They just they looked at the front end. I said, here's the Android code. They were they didn't even need it, right? They were just looking at the front end of the app, which was so stupid. It was so stupid. It made me angry. I'm still angry about it. So you need somebody who knows both, right? So they could look at the code on the one and look at the other, so that they could scan through it and see, oh, there's a function here. Why is that there? What does it do? Because the danger is that you have a button that not all users see, or depending on their user permissions, and they might not see it. And if somebody's not looking at the code, they're going to miss it completely. Or certain business logic saying we only show this for certain type of users, or we only show this in certain types of situation. And if they're just looking at the front end, they're not going to do it as well. So, but I think, the upside is all those iterations you went through, saying, what's the best design, what's the best, what's the, oh, that doesn't quite look right, this doesn't work very well. the back and forth, which is what adds a lot of the time to the development. You don't have to go through that again because you can just do a side-by-side comparison. So it shouldn't take nearly as long as the Android version did. And again, if somebody has come up with a way to I know I've seen conversion tools and stuff, but they're never really very good. It's you usually have to go through and fix a bunch of stuff on there because by their very nature they're different. Live for Tech says, should I learn Kotlin or try Flutter to make apps? Alexa, stop. So I think Flutter. That's just my opinion, right? It depends on what you want to do. If you only want to do Android, Kotlin's there. So Croc Smile says, hey Eric, would it be possible to publish a cross-platform app on the Apple Store without a Mac, or would you have to buy one? Most of the time, if you're going to compile it yourself, you need to have a Mac. But there's things like Mac in the cloud. You might be able to rent one of those, but I've never seen that. I mean, actually, no, I have seen that. So you might be able to do that, but you have to learn how the Mac works and everything. If you do, there are also services like if you do it in Ionic, there's the Ionic build service. There's PhoneGap build, things like that you might be able to use. But even then, you should still be able to test it on an iPhone. But I get what you're saying. The only reason I have a Mac, I mean, I kind of like the Mac now, but when I got it, the only reason I got it was so I can compile iOS apps, right? And it's and that's the only reason. That's the reason I stick to it too. I want to be what I want to do is be a really cool developer where I have a big, bulky, nasty Linux machine that nobody knows how to use except for me, and just be total nerd out that way. But I have the MacBook, and the MacBook's not bad. But Adam Major, hey, how's it going? Bart Mamser, hey. Yao Johnny, hi. Rifat says, Eric, I just finished a contract and starting a new one in central London on Monday. Awesome. Let me know when you are in town. Absolutely. I need to go into London sometime in the next 3 weeks, and it was for a meeting. And this would be good, Rifat. So maybe we can go out and have a drink or something. That would be great. Jesse says there are kids only ad network. Don't recall the name. Maybe use that. Yeah, but does it pay well? Wiki on Illuminati says, hi Eric, Waka's here. Waka's. Will you make a video on Flutter? Yeah, maybe I will do it. If I made a video on Flutter, it would be here's what I would do. And this is the thing that gets me about it. I would have to watch a few videos on Flutter, learn how it's done, and then do my own video on Flutter, which is basically plagiarizing what I just learned from them. So unless I could add some unique spin on it. Let's see. Jesse, have you considered making a bot for Siri? I haven't. I mean, I know the option is there in Dialogflow. My assumption is that Apple's going to be a pain to get it live. I'm never having tried. So to put an app live for Google was not that difficult. For Amazon, I haven't actually gone through that process yet. But the Siri part, I don't even know where to start with that. But I'm sure I could Google it, but I haven't considered it yet. I imagine you're going on their precious iPhones, so they'll probably make all kinds of hoops to jump over. Pratik Gupta says hi. So I'm gonna have to stop here in a few minutes. So no more questions, please. Please hold your questions until next week. But let's go through the rest of them, the ones that have been asked already. Oh God, I missed loads. Okay, so Emir Khan says, your Chrome extensions seem useful. Would you share these extensions list? Oh, the ones on my screen. What do I have? Chrome extensions. Cores. All right, let's go. That's a good idea. Yeah, we should do that. I might make a good video. There's some that I need as a developer. There's some that are just there, like Grammarly. That's kind of, okay. I use Grammarly from time to time. There's other stuff like TubeBuddy and stuff for the YouTube channel, but the cores one. So if you do any browser, any Cordova work, like Ionic or anything like that, and you have the cross-site scripting issues, having the cores plugin is essential. So you could just use a command line, reopen Chrome with cores shut off, but this thing works really, really well. However, I think in the latest version of Chrome, it stopped working for me, and I'm hoping they're going to fix it soon. But that's probably the biggest one, and I've got other things like test Google Tag Manager, that test Facebook Pixel, stuff like that. And that's, yeah, I mean, we'll go through those on another week, but yeah, good question. Parash says, tried making a tutorial on Flutter last week. I ended up being an hour-long video, thinking of making more. It needs to be an hour long, right? I think for me, I kept messing things up, and I kept getting perfectionist, and then like the camera, sometimes my camera fails on me, sometimes my microphone fails on me, and it's just, but yeah. Jesse says, one question about Flutter. Does Flutter allow you to update logic on the fly without having to publish again on the Play Store or iOS Store? I think React Native allow that. I don't think that they do, and I think there's some, like, React Native does it? Does React Native? Or does it depend on which libraries you have to use? Because in order for that to work, you have to have something hosted remotely. Tanzil Zubair bin Zaman. Hey man, remember me? Took your advice. Gonna release an app in a few days. It's written in Flutter. Any thoughts, advice on that? Let us know how it goes, Tanzil. That's what I want to know, how it goes. And if you want us to have a look at it next week, we can. Christopher says, hey Eric, would you say that an app would need about 1K to be visible enough to be profitable? It's difficult to say. If you had an app, it depends on your conversion. It almost like the amount of downloads doesn't really matter. I mean, it does matter, but just in terms of how often people are paying, right? That's if you have an app that if you have an app and you're selling it for $10, for example, like it's a high price app, and you only get 100 downloads, then that would do better than something that gets 1,000 and you're making 2 cents per user, right? So it's the logic. It's almost like the number of downloads doesn't matter as much. Just in terms of, I mean, it does matter, but it's like a small part of it. So Josh says, yeah, pull fish for publisher to monetize their apps using surveys. Here's a link. I'm going to have a look at that. Tanzil says, hey man, do you mind explaining ASO for a complete beginner's perspective? So ASO stands for App Store Optimization, which is optimizing your app for the app stores. So you're thinking about how are people going to find it. So you're looking at stuff like searchability, discoverability. If somebody's searching on the store, how are you going to get there? Some people focus very much on being featured, which I don't really think very much about being featured. It's like not one of my main things. I'm thinking more about the search. If somebody's searching on something, how are they going to find it, right? And if it's something that's too broad, then I have to think about something else that's more niche. So even though I miss out on the bit, so like free game is like one that I was talking to Steve P. Young, and we were joking about that. That somebody asked me what the best keyword was, and he said it's free game, right? Because it's the most crowded one, right? You can't actually, you can't break into that one, although it would be really cool. So you have to think about other things. What other things can people search on? And then you have that, and then ASO. It's optimizing for the app store. So you look at your screenshots, looking at your icon, looking at analyzing your statistics, see what stuff comes in, look at your keywords, what are you ranking for, stuff like. But keywords is what a lot of people look at. Let's see. Making English Fun says, I noticed ages ago you had a Christmas book app. Did you code that yourself? If so, on what? I was looking for a pub coder to make one. So yeah, we did that. I didn't code it myself. I have worked on it a little bit since, but no, it was a guy, Joey, in the Philippines, and my designer Sandy at the time. She did all she wrote the story. She wrote the story. She did all the artwork. He did this was like I can't really take credit for it. The app's called How I Met Santa, and it was. The nice thing about it was I had almost nothing to do with it. Like it was like all Sandy. And her husband Joey, he was working for me at the time too, and so they did it right. And I mean, I did a lot in terms of just debugging it for iOS because he didn't have a Mac, or he had a Mac, but he didn't think he had an iPhone. So as soon as I'd run it on an iPhone, it would crash because the images were too large. So that's what I did. That was my input. I was just making sure it didn't crash. but they did all of that on their own. So and we use Corona SDK on that. So yeah, that was it didn't do that well. I went on Upwork and hired like a child voice actor to do the narration on it. Johnny Yao says, I did receive the mail. The reason is my app implement functionality regarding health that might mislead or potentially harmful. My app measure heart rate or with sensor or camera. I do file an appeal. Yeah, file an appeal and say, I will change that logic. I will remove it from the medical category. Because that's exactly what I did. I said, I will make sure that they understand that this is not a medical device. The extra information I received mentioned my app's claim functionalities that is not possible to implement. Cool. Make sure you do that. Make sure if you release it again, say, see if you can release it again and put note, this is not a, whatever it is, a defibrillator. Let's say it's a defibrillator, your defibrillator app. This is not a real defibrillator. Say something like that, Johnny. Let's see. We're talking about Listum here. Glenn Ferris says, thanks, Eric, for your advice. No problem. Oh, I got to get out of here. Yori98 says, hey, Eric, do you plan on releasing one of your own apps or only client work now? I do plan on releasing some of my own apps, but right now I don't have anything in the pipeline. It's more like I'm just waiting for a good idea. I've been so busy with client work. And whenever I do come up with an idea, like for me, I'm just trying to put the reps in. I'm trying to keep the skills current, keep going. And a lot of the stuff that we've been doing has been updating the old apps, and occasionally I'll have an idea and think, is that something I want to invest in? Like, because I have to, it's an investment of time and money, and more time than money if I'm going to do it myself. So like, where can I find the time to do it? Can I sit down and focus on it? Is it worth doing? And it's fun to do the architecture of it and build it out, like how this would work. So like the last one I was going to do, and would I still do it? So one of the ones that this was like 2 years ago, and they keep bringing it up, like they want to do it. I want to do an app for maintenance people, and there might be something out there already, but so that they could go through and you have a web admin console. You can add all your maintenance people. Say like they clean the bathrooms or something, or whatever, and then they could go through and schedule that, saying you have to clean it once an hour or whatever. And like if you go to like a public toilet and they have the little thing they sign on the wall, so the cleaner, the clipboard, have something like that where a cleaner could go in and not just do an NFC tap on the wall or scan a barcode to show that they were there, but take a picture, sign whatever, and then that way you can see from a web admin console, you can see the progression of those rooms. So you could also do stuff like pick up deterioration of objects. So somebody in a main hub headquarters can see what's going on in all the different places without having to do physical inspections. That was kind of the thing I was thinking about, and we started on that, and we did actually a lot of. We wrote the API. We started on the front end, and then just like I think my developer and I think I just thought he was taking too long on it, and then we had to do something else, and then that was like a couple years ago. And we used, we did it in Ionic. We did Feather.js as the API, or he used Feather.js. I'm not really into that technology, and but yeah, that was the one that I want to do. I'm more interested in doing. I want to do a utility tool. Is what I want to do. Not so much a game, but and there's loads of ideas there. There's loads of stuff you could do. It's just whether or not you invest the time into it. That was one where I think I invested like 2 months time into it, and then realized it was going to be another 2 or 3 months to finish it. And I was like, wow, do I really want to finish this? Do I really want to, is it going to work? And then I chickened out and took on some more client work. So yeah, God, feels good to get that off my chest. But let's see. Alex says, thanks for answering my question. No problem. Rodrigo says, just saw the Google Play Store is asking to resubmit content rating for my apps. Check your app, guys. Oh, is it really? Let's see. Where I lost my place. Parash says, I use virtual machine to release iOS apps. Cool. I talked to Rodrigo. I know he's been working on that recently. Bart says, when's the next EarSpy update coming to iOS? I think the last update I haven't updated that in ages on iOS. The last update I did was add the consent form for GDPR. That was like in May. But yeah, I need to do something on that. And I have no like new functionality to put in or anything. Maybe I'll change ad networks. Art Mansion says, Art Mansion, hey, how's it going? You're new. Hey, I'm a new entrepreneur from Pakistan. I just saw your channel a couple days ago. Your content is much motivating and helpful. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Jay Matthews says you need to come to the U.S. so we can get a drink. I'm seeing a work tour in your future. That would be awesome. Oh, man. And we have to go during baseball season. It has to be during baseball season. There has to be, like, I'm a fast food guy, so, you know, there's going to be Wendy's and there's going to be Taco Bell. And there's a Taco Bell in London now, so that's not so much a thing. But, you know, Wendy's, Jack in the Box. Tom Fenton, hey, how's it going? Let's see. Expo to allow updates to React Native. Expo.io. Yeah, but it's like a library you have to add in, right? And I always wonder if they'll reject that, if Apple will start rejecting that, being able to change stuff. And I know it's been there for ages. There's a Cordova 1.2 similar to that. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, I don't know if Flutter has anything like that, because Flutter's compiled, whereas, well, React Native's just compiled too, isn't it? I guess I don't know, Jesse. I'll let me check on that one. Adam Major says, in React Native, use Expo to host your app to your server computer and show that your newest version of your app. User have to install Expo Player app too. Oh, okay. Highlights time. Hey, Eric just joined. Oh, we're just about to finish highlights time. Let's see. Where you find image? What image for like an icon? Jesse says, for toilet data, you could use phone to track the movement. Yeah, this is it, Jesse. I mean, I know I told you guys my big app idea, and it's not that big an app idea, but like I keep thinking, you know, I might ever get around to doing it. One day maybe. But it's the kind of thing where every time you see somebody with a clipboard doing a job, you think that could be an app, right? That could be like, it's just so inefficient that people are still doing stuff on clipboards and paper. And I know it's not so much anymore. Like they're slowly starting to phase out. But as tablets and phones get cheaper and cheaper all the time, you think about these things should be replaced. And even we're at the point now where an old iPhone app it's like an old web page. It's like it shows its age, and this kind of stuff could keep going, keep being updated. No more questions. Thanks, Jesse. Let's see. And I think that's all the questions for today. We've answered all the questions. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the live stream today. Sorry I have to cut it short today. I mean, it's an hour. An hour is good. I really appreciate it. So I might start, we have the daily video coming tomorrow. Or not the daily video. The normal video, the regular video, Overpass Insights, which I'm still getting used to learning how to say. We have that coming tomorrow. We'll do the live stream next week. Thanks everybody for joining us. Last one, Code with ABHI says, hey Eric, how are you? I just wondering if you could use Google Images in my apps. Is it okay? Last question, Code with ABHI. Make sure you look, when you do Google image search, go to tools and then go to labeled for reuse or commercial reuse and stuff like that, because that will show whether or not you use it. But by and large, not really, unless you go through and use those like Creative Commons and stuff like that. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining that's the last question. Last one. All right, that's it. I'm calling it. Time of death, 12:16:02. Everybody, thanks very much for joining the live stream. But see you tomorrow on the Overpass Insights video. And I'll talk to you guys next week on the live stream. Thanks everyone. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Taking this blindfold off to see what this life's all about.